This is Goatsucker Harvest, Chapter 17, Under the Milk Moon. Am I on time? Thurza cradled Piper's face between her hands as he rolled over at her feet among the sphagnum and sundews. See Venus, sinking to bed, trailing Mercury. Bram pointed to where the planets were capsizing through the sunset's orange and vermilion waves. I didn't tell anyone where I was heading at such an hour, Thurza said. It gave her a frisson of excitement, stepping away from the ordinary, to go wandering about like a true land gypsy onto the Moorish wilderness with its hidden adders and startling voices. Only this man was close by as her protector and guide. Perhaps a lady should be more cautious here in the gathering gloaming. Thurza couldn't convince her heart to quaver at the prospect of being here with Bram. She'd been more afraid of being challenged and forbidden by those who might view her nocturnal outing as a disgraceful breach of common sense and decency. In fact, nobody seemed to notice her slip away. She said good night to her grandparents after supper, without a soul commenting on the direction she'd taken. Jem had been wrapped up in his own personal nightmares. Darnell was busy in his newly commandeered workshop, with the door locked. Are you well? Bram noticed her distant look. I was looking out for you, in case you missed your way or decided to go adder-baiting again by the pinfold. You were watching me all that time? Thurza was incredulous. It seemed too dim between sundown and moonrise for him to have seen her from afar. I'm accustomed to noticing whatever moves on the fenlands. Something, someone I've waited for so long, I'd no intention of missing. The two of them walked on in silence until the shape of Bram's hut and a curved bank of alder and scrub birch that shielded the decoy from detection crept into view. The moon's rising, whispered Bram, as if just to raise his voice might frighten the perfect disc of pearl back, trembling below the southeastern horizon. There, just after 10, it was breaking free of the line of sedge. Why milk? Thurza whispered. Every baby creature born in spring will be suckling, new and needy, lambs and leverets, chicks, nestlings, fledglings. Birds don't drink milk, not even goatsuckers. You're learning, lass. She's a blue moon too, the second full moon of May. Bram smiled and lit the peat turf at the end of a twig, as he'd shown her before, to disguise all human and canine scent from the wildfowl. Could it be a month ago? Thurza felt as comfortable with this quiet soul as if she'd known him all her days on earth. The full moon's rays began to make shapes of things more clear to her, but far from more familiar. She kept close to Bram and Piper as they approached the decoy, and Bram snuffed out the smouldering peat, which fragranced the air with its timeless, earthy scent. Bram took Thurza's index finger gently in his hand and laid it on her lips, to indicate the need to become absolutely mute, and helped her into place behind the head show, the tallest of the screens. Piper needed no such guidance from his master, and melted into the shadows under the low wicket. That's the Yakub Piper springs over, murmured Bram into Thurza's ear. He'll Yakub and over, Thurza whispered back, mimicking Bram's distinct vowels. Yes, canny lass. Bram's eyes twinkled. He'll drive the ducks further up the pipes into the holding space of the tunnel the net at the end of the line of hoops. Thurza made out a little group of birds at the mouth of the pipe, mallard, teal, gadwall and shoveler, with widgeon and pintail, feeding on scattered seeds on the surface of the water for them to find. Looking closely, Thurza saw some were tame live ducks, while among them paddled the exquisitely crafted feathery automata with their immaculate plumage and lifelike movements. Bram gave a low whistle to the dog that sounded every bit as natural as the calls of the upland waders, bleak and wistful. Then Piper sprang over the succession of low dog jumps. Further along the pipe he disappeared from sight, backing away, drawing the wildfowl onward up the pipe. They seemed fascinated by the little hound. Beady eyes winked in the moonbeams shining down. Milky light turned everything into a mysterious pageant in which Thurza, to her utter delight and astonishment, found herself taking her place. It felt so natural to her. She hardly realised how Bram was guiding her with his eye. Thurza found she understood the signals that passed between man and dog, even though the meanings behind the strange names and words were lost in the mists of time. I normally do this in winter, but I want to show you how I work the decoy, so when winter comes and more birds fly onto the fens, you'll already be an expert. Piper seems to know what to do even before he sees your signals, Thurza whispered as she followed Bram along the sunken path beside the screens and the low jumps that connected them in a zigzag pattern alongside the netted pipe. Why do the birds on the pond not fly away when they see their friends swimming off like that? Thurza tried to keep her voice down as low as Bram did. Because of the elbow back there, he explained. That's the angle of the bend in the pipe. I have it all laid out so the wild birds on the pond don't panic or injure themselves. Once they're exactly the right distance up the pipe, beyond the head show, as we call it, there's no way back to danger or damage. Bram knew he could trust Thurza to do her part, so he showed her how to stand behind the head show, how to show her own head to the ducks further up the pipe to prevent them scattering past her and back onto the pond again. Thurza watched him. She could feel her heart beat flickering in her throat, and the hairs of her neck thrilled as if tickled by breath whispering past a warm tongue. Bram seemed to be blowing over the hoops and nets with an expanding globe of sighing that spread from his fingers and radiated out over the fenland in a shimmering, keening rainbow. Thurza closed her eyes and placed her fingertips on her lids. She opened them again, peeking out at the radiant land. She felt Bram standing behind her, strong palms just circling her without pressure or possession, lifting her back into the warmth of him.